top 5 stocks to watch for this week. We are going to go over price targets, key levels, stop losses, and the news. We're also going to talk about why I'm so bullish on these stocks and what's happening with the overall economy for this week. So without further ado, hit that like and comment below what stocks you would like me to check out next. But let's get started with one of my favorites. Now, this is Costco, and this is a stock that we talked about last week. We did absolutely phenomenal on this trade, and this is ticker symbol COST. That's ticker symbol COST. You know Costco, and it's one of my really bullish stocks going into next week because the Fed is tightening the economy. So this is a great recession-proof stock to own, along with Walmart, Target. These are the really great value plays that we are seeing going to higher highs. So if we look over here, we see that it bounced right off this wedge, and I'm just expecting it to go to all-time highs, which is $612.27, and just to go all the way up, because after that, it's just basically the sky's the limit. We see it bounced off of this level, off of this 13 EMA, and it's just been skyrocketing ever since, especially after the Fed talked about raising interest rates. And this is a really good stock to own when we are tightening the economy. We do need it to break this level, so just watch out for this level around $607.56. That is one entry that we definitely need to make sure that it breaks through. But after that, it's just, the sky is the limit. And it's really good. So I just wanted to show you some of the bullishness going through. We have all of these MAs that are just curling up, really gorgeous stuff. We have some more volume coming in. The RSI still looks like it's overbought, which is great. We have the MACD that is in the green and bullish, and we have the stochastic that is going up as well. Now this is on the daily chart, so let's go to a quicker chart. We have this. And we can see we just bounced right off of this level. And this is especially what I love because it just went from this uptrend and it made, as you can see, this support, this old resistance, a new support. So if it can bounce off of this level, that would be amazing. And we can just get to those higher highs. So the entry level that I'm looking at right now is around $600.50. If we see buying pressure, if we see some more news about rising interest rates or recession, those are very big buzzwords right now. So this is a stock that actually benefits from that. So as traders, we want to trade both sides. So being bullish on a stock that is good for recessions, people are going in, they don't want to spend as much money, they want to buy in bulk, and this is definitely one of the huge names to look out for that. So I would say $650 for your entry level if we see buying pressure, and then just make sure that there's no resistance or selling pressure over at this level around 610, and then we can just keep going up. Now, if we look at the weekly also, we can see that there is a huge green candle that is just absolutely gorgeous. Like, look at all of that buying pressure. And it looked like it just bounced off. And I'm sure that we can see higher highs. Of course, this is not financial advice, but I would definitely say that having a smaller green candle and then having a larger green candle will definitely do that for you. So that is the first one. And if we go over here, we can see that it might bounce off of that level. Again, wait until there is buying pressure. And I just want to look at the 1 hour. And right here is the 612 area. Again, if we see selling pressure, just have a tight trailing stop loss on it for the 610 area. Will make a nice profit. If it goes anywhere down here around the 596 level, I would just have a stop loss over there, because if it goes to the downtrend, then it will probably go over here. And my second entry level would be at $571.50 to see if we can get buyers over at this 200 EMA. But I don't believe that it will do that. I believe that it will just have more buying pressure because it seems like there's a lot of volume and a lot of buyers stepping into this, and that this is a really good time to kind of get in on it at the forefront. Now, I will be looking to sell around that 610 area if I see sellers. But if I don't see sellers, I'm just going to set a trailing stop loss around 5% and just see how long we can go with that. Now, the second one is going to be ticker symbol LAND. Again, we talked about this last week. Ticker symbol LAND, land. This is Gladstone. They are a farmland stock. And the reason I really like this is because we've talked about this before, but there appears to be a lot of food shortages. I was recently looking at a TikTok, and even a lot of the farmers are saying, you know, this is just going to get worse. Get your wheat, get your corn. You really need to get those things because we're in for a lot of food shortages. So what happens during food shortages? We see demand of farmland skyrocket because we need to see more food being produced. So it's just basically a supply and demand. And I'm just looking for a continuation from last week because, again, this was on our radar last week and we did phenomenal with this play. You can also look at ticker symbol FPI because that is a farmland one as well. You can see it went up about 4% as well because of the news and rumors of the food shortage. And just looking at this 1-year chart, it looks absolutely bullish. Look at this huge green candle. We broke right through this uptrend, which is really phenomenal. Very nice. And we are at all-time highs of $40.80. If we look at the Bollinger Bands, we can see that they are pointing upward, which is a really great bullish sign. And you can just see that there was so much volume on Friday, which just indicated that there's a lot of buyers stepping in. And of course, we made this previous resistance into a new support. And we've just been on this descending triangle. We broke through the descending triangle and we just bounced off the 13 EMA. If we go to the shorter time frame, we'll go to the 1 hour, we can see that it's just making higher highs, which is absolutely amazing. Really great with this stock. And this is one of the farmland stocks that I'm really bullish on. I will be bullish on farmland stocks for a while because, as you know, Bill Gates is so bullish on farmland right now. He's been buying it like crazy. And I just believe that farmland is going to be a really big industry for the next few years. So if we look here, we are seeing some red, but it's above the VWAP. So that is especially good. I would like to see it come down to this level and make a new support out of the old resistance. So the first level I'm looking at is $39.30 to see if buyers step in. If they don't, I'm looking right over here at $37.25 to see if buyers come in as well. Again, if buyers do not come in, then do not place this trade. But those are the two entries I'm looking at. And then I'm looking to sell for a nice 10% gain of $40.45 if I see sellers. If I don't see sellers, then I'm looking for $40.85. And again, if I don't see sellers, just putting a trailing stop loss of 5%. And this will give me a nice trade, a good risk reward. And we're just going to put the stop loss just right below this line at $38.85. Now, if we look at the weekly, we can just see that it's bounced off of this line, went all the way up here, bounced off this line, all the way up here, and we might see a pullback, but I'm not anticipating one this week just because we just had the news about the food shortages. So I think the market needs some time to gain a little bit more momentum. But this chart is just so beautiful and so bullish. We see a lot of green, especially in recent months and recent weeks. So it just looks really nice. Now, the third stock that we are going to look at is one of the bank stocks. Now, if you didn't know I'm sorry about the revving engine. If you didn't know, bank earnings are this week and Wednesday. It starts with JP Morgan at 8:30 a.m. in the pre-market. EPS is estimated at $2.72, and revenue is going to be $30 billion and $30.57 billion. We also need to look at the forecast, and we need to see if they say any buzzwords like recession, inflation, interest rates, because that will affect the market. So just be careful with all of the bank stocks, because, if they mention anything like Restoration Hardware mentioned before about the coming recession, it will just bring the market down. So if any of the bank stocks especially say anything about any of these buzzwords, we could just have the market go down as well. But I'm especially looking at JP Morgan because they do have this really nice double bottom that they're forming right here. And that's usually a bullish sign. If we can bounce off of this level, go up here, we could see a nice rally, especially if the news is good, if they have good earnings. Now, I'm not telling you to purchase anything before earnings. We do need to see how the earnings did. And right now, they're not really doing much as far as volume goes or as far as bullish action goes. But this was a nice green candle. And in fact, most of the bank stocks did do very well on Friday, possibly in anticipation of the earnings. So if we look over here, we'll get some price targets. And if we see this, it is indicating that there is a nice double bottom forming. And if we zoom in a little closer, I would love to see it around this area. We could have a nice support at $131.15. That's where I'm looking to enter. If there is no buying pressure, then I would like to enter over here at $128.90 to see buyers. Now, if we go over here to our first entry, I would like to see it up to $133 would be my first price target, just because it seems to be like there is a little bit of resistance here. If it doesn't go, then I would like to see it right before the 200 MA, and that's $135 for the price target. And that will give me a nice solid entry and exit for about a 15% gain. Now, if we do go to the first price target, we would want to go right over here. And 130 is where I would place my stop loss, just so we have a nice risk reward. Now, I do say to go just below the 200 MA because that's where traders are looking, and we want to get in before the sellers step in. And usually sellers step in on the MAs, and this is definitely one of the big prominent MAs. But if we don't see any sellers, it could keep going up. So just have your trailing stop loss if you don't see any sellers. And then let's look over at the weekly. If we go over to the weekly, we can see this is so gorgeous and so bullish, in my opinion. We are at the 200 EMA. And if we have good earnings, we can see that it will just keep rising and keep going up. Now, last time it did fall below, but it did have this huge red candle. If we can see right over here, it did have that huge red candle, but then it just bounced right back up. So I'm expecting, since we did see a lot of buying pressure that bounced right off of this 200 MA, I'm just expecting more of a rally going forward, especially since it's right at the lower Bollinger Band, I think because of this week and earnings and anticipation, and it is pretty undervalued right now, that we will see a nice spike. Of course, just be aware that there is some bearishness going into this week, but we did see a nice green candle and we are seeing some buyers step in. It's pretty weak buying action right now, but I do think that there is a good entry level for us if we do see more buyers step in and more volume. And just be aware that it is earnings, so earnings season starts, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So the fourth one we have, now we put this on the watch list last week as well, but I just wanted to show you why I'm bullish on this. This is ticker symbol AB, Alliance Bernstein. And this is one of Nancy Pelosi's favorite. It has a huge dividend of 8%. So if you're a dividend buff like me, this is a really good stock. But I just wanted to show you on Friday, it did have a red day, but it literally bounced right off of this wedge. Beautiful bounce off of this wedge. And I'm just expecting, since it does well in rising interest rates, for this just to keep going up. And since it is out of this downtrend and it's making a new resistance, we just want to make sure it confirms. So we do need to wait for that green candle if you are swing trading it. If we look over here, smaller time frame, we can see that it is just out of this wedge. Now, if we are looking at it to day trade, I would want to see it at $47.60. So right at this line, because we can see that there is some bullishness that is approaching with the EMA, the 13 EMA, that it is going up a bit. And we landed right on the 200 EMA and we bounced right off of that. And we just made it right out of this wedge. So I'm just looking at that level first. If we do go back into this wedge, I'll be looking for buyers at $47. So we have those two key entry prices. Of course, wait until the buyers step in, please. And then it looks like this is a key resistance at $48.60. So it could be a nice little trade right here. And then we need to have a tight stop loss at $47 and $47.25, just because if it does go all the way there, then we need to make sure that buyers step in at $47. So that should give us a nice risk reward. If we don't see any sellers at our first price target, we can go all the way up to $49.30, or we could go up to the psychological level at 50 cents. So just have your trailing stop loss around our first price target of $48.70, just to make sure that buyers do not, or sellers don't step in. If we look at the weekly, we can see that we got out of the wedge as well. And we can see that it basically, the 13 EMA is still quite bullish, which we love to see that. And we're basically curling over here. We're trying to make a bullish crossing of the 13 EMA and the mid Bollinger Band, which would be very bullish. If that does happen, that would be great. It looks like it might, because the lower Bollinger Band is curling upwards. So just be on the lookout for that, because that would be a very bullish sign. But nonetheless, getting 8% for your dividends are very exciting. And you can see that the Bollinger Bands are curling up as well, which could indicate some nice bullish momentum. It means that we have some more growth that we can do, which would be very exciting. Okay, and for the last one, we have ticker symbol ADC. Now, this is one of my favorite REITs right now, because we did form this lovely base and it's just been curling up. And I'm very bullish on this because just past the 200 EMA, A, and it was just very bullish on this. So we just broke through this, and then it was like, nope, I'm good. And then it went all the way up here. So it's been very bullish, and it's been going in the right direction. And if you can see, we had a bullish crossing right here. It went all the way through this big resistance, and now it is just great volume, nice bullishness. And I expect that to happen in the next week as well. As you probably know, we're going into more of a value territory. So having dividends, having REITs is very nice. And this has a solid dividend yield of 3.99%. So it's not bad. I feel like this is one of the most undervalued dividend stocks right now. And just because it went up to the 200 MA is great. This would be a great swing trade. If we do see a little bit of a pullback and all the way up here, it can go right up to this next resistance, but we really don't have that much in the way. I don't see much of a resistance except for up here. And so we could see a very nice price target from right over here just because it is curling up. So if we look at the 6-month and 1 hour, we can see that it did make higher highs and higher lows. It's just been in this really beautiful uptrend. The 200 MA is going upward, and so are the Bollinger Bands. We absolutely love to see that. So I am expecting a little bit of a pullback, even though it is making higher highs and higher lows. I would love to see this old resistance become a new support. So I'm looking at this at $67.50 as a potential entry level. And why I say that is because I want this to bounce off of the 50 EMA, and I want to see aggressive buyers step in so we can make that higher high. And then we can see a nice price target of $68.80 just below this line here, because I feel like there will be some selling pressure right before that. But if we don't see any selling pressure, if it keeps going, then we'll just have the trailing stop loss on. Okay, so what I'm looking at for the stop loss, if it is there, is around $67, even very nice psychological level. Remember that whole numbers, we do need to look at those in terms of psychology, because the brain works sometimes saying, you know, if it is $67 and goes to 66 something, there's not a lot of buyers that will come in after that psych level. So if it does break through this and we don't see any buying pressure at our initial entry level, I would like to see it right here at $66.45 for my first entry level if we do see buying pressure. So that's what I will be looking at for ADC. I think it's a great potential candidate for a bullish movement up this week, just because there's not much in its way right now, and there is a lot of buying pressure. If we look at the weekly, you can see it bounced right off of this 200 EMA, just chef's kiss, absolutely gorgeous. And it's looked like it's curling and trying to make this bullish crossing here. It just looks so ready to go. We can just see that there is a lot of bullish momentum. We can see a lot of green candles coming up. And I think as investors overall, if we hear the word recession or we keep hearing the word interest rate increases, we do want to go to those cash flow generating stocks, which of course are the REITs, are the dividends, are the value plays. So I'm expecting a lot of those types of plays, which is why I have a lot of value plays this week as opposed to growth plays. Of course, as traders, we want to be incredibly flexible. Tomorrow, Monday morning, they might announce, oh, we're not doing any more rate hikes, and that we were just kidding, April Fools. Something like that could happen. So as traders, we just want to be aware of all of that. I'll keep you guys updated. I will give you stocks, and please follow me over at Twitter, because I announce all of my stock market news in real time. And please follow me here because I make daily suggestions on stocks, and I just let you know how to invest, or how I see it as a trader and as a long-term investor, because we want to have different perspectives on this, but we all want to make money and we all want to make sure that our parents get yachts by 2025. This is Supergirl Investor here to save the world and make you wealthy and make sure you're profitable in any type of market environment, that you have your risk management, that you have your price target set. So let's go out there and make some money this week. Bye.